Hi, I'm Paul Coleman and I'm the Detective Inspector for Spalding and South Holland CID. The reason that I've decided to come to talk to you today is to talk to you a bit about restorative justice. The reason that I've become involved in this is following the realisation recently that it wasn't at all what I thought it was. And it also occurred to me that I may not be the only one that has drawn this wrong assumption. So first of all, restorative justice is not disposal to a crime. It is not the process by which an offender can, for example, pay for a window that they've smashed on a drunken night out or make reparations for any damage that they've caused. That is what we call community resolution. Restorative justice is different. This is a process which sits separately from the usual criminal justice process, but it can run parallel to the investigation. It allows the victim, where appropriate, to contact or meet the offender to discuss what happened, get answers to questions, and even gain closure over what has occurred. To illustrate this, I will briefly share the experience of a rape victim who I recently met. Jill had been the victim of a brutal rape several years ago. She was attacked in her own home and raped while her children were in the house. She was one of a number of victims of the same attacker. Thankfully, her attacker was caught, he was convicted, and he went to prison, thanks to Jill and the cooperation of all the other victims. However, that wasn't the end of it for Jill. Jill will say that she was still serving a life sentence because of what had happened to her. She was living in fear. She was living in fear for her children as well as herself. And she relived that moment over and over and over again. She reimagined what had occurred to her. And she had gone over it in her head so many times that she had created this picture of what had occurred, which was actually different from what was reality. She had imagined that her attacker was this giant of a man, a Goliath, a monster, if you like, that had attacked her in her own home. She wanted answers to the questions as to why her? Why had she been attacked? And all these things were keeping her awake at night. Eventually, Jill was allowed the opportunity to meet her attacker in prison. She will say that the moment that he walked into the room, everything changed. This Goliath of a man that she had imagined was nothing of the sort. In walked in a weak, small in stature, older guy, much older than she had anticipated, and she will say that at that moment she took the power back. She sat him down, they spoke, he answered some of her questions, some not. But she was able to give him a piece of her mind, and she felt all the better for it. Now, restorative justice is not about simply forgiveness. Jill will tell you she does not forgive this man. She does not now, nor will probably she ever. This was about her taking back control. She took control, she took back the power, and that's what it was all about for her. Since going through this process herself, Jill has been an advocate for the national restorative justice system, and having listened to her story myself, made me realise that we really need to be buying into this in Lincolnshire Police and really making an effort to do what we can for our victims. Now, I know that you're busy, we're all busy, and one of the things that we've been particularly keen on is making this process as simple as possible, and I'm pleased to say that it is. All you need to do as the OIC is to go onto the intranet, fill in the referral form. With it, all you need is the basic details of the case. You send that through to the restorative justice team here at headquarters, and they will do the rest. They'll contact the victim, decide what's best, decide what will work best in the circumstances, and if the victim decides it's not for them, then that's fine. You carry on with the investigation as you normally would. You dispose of it in the normal way, whether that's caution, charge, and the restorative justice process works alongside. It really is something that is important to these victims. Some will want to engage with it, some will not, and that's absolutely fine. All that we're asking from you, as frontline officers and supervisors, is to ensure that these people have the information to be able to make an informed choice for themselves. As we say here in Lincolnshire Police, the only people that should be making a decision about not to engage in the restorative justice system is the victims themselves, and we owe it to them to give them that power to do so. Thank you.